I would like to invite our next speaker, Natalia Vilela, UX designer and curious. She's always looking for different ways to see the world and enthusiastic about empowering women in IT. She's also a Hyper Island student who did more than 15 courses in the UX design field and is currently working with a startup focused on the innovation field in the real estate market in Stockholm. So warm welcome to Natalia.
Hi, thank you.
The floor is yours.
Okay, so let's go back here. Hi everyone, I am Natalia. I am a user experience designer here in Stockholm, and I also a Hyper Island student. So first of all, I'd like to say I'm super happy to be here today with all of these inspiring women. And thanks, Martina, for your talk. I already make a note here, like good enough is the new black. And I hope my talk can inspire you and also help you to find your way to say goodbye to the imposter syndrome. So let's start from the beginning. I started hearing about the imposter syndrome a few months ago, but I realized that I heard a lot about it, but I didn't understand very well what is this. So what is the imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is not a disease, it's not a disorder, it's not a mental disorder. Imposter syndrome is a behavior, and in this behavior pattern, a person starts to have some thoughts that they don't deserve the thing they have achieved. The constant feeling, what I'm doing here, why me, I can't do that, and I'm not capable enough. And the person also starts to feel afraid of being exposed as a fraud, afraid of someone discovering that in fact they don't know anything and that everything is just a lie. And you know the feeling when they realize that I'm not who they think I am. And also this one in particular is my weak point. Whenever someone praises something I know or I do, the first thought I have is, I just did what I had to do. And in seconds, I start saying that I didn't do anything special. And next one, we live in such big world, but it still surprised me the lack of representativeness, especially in technology and in leadership positions. And if I don't see someone like me in the positions that I would like to be, how can I know if I can really get there? So according to the Women Leadership Study, 75% of women already had an imposter syndrome at some point in their career. And we can't be fine with this number. 75% of women is a lot. And unfortunately, I am part of this percentage. And I will share a piece of my history with imposter syndrome. So my history, look at this girl. My history with imposter syndrome, it started when I was a kid. I was around 10 years old, and I have this constant thoughts about how others know much more than me. And I spent a lot of time thinking about what people knew, and I don't. And I found out that some parents pay for better schools, and their kids can learn more things. And you can't imagine how I felt knowing that. In my child's head, I was getting stupid day after day. And at 14 years old, I applied for a learnership in electronics after a long process with mathematics, physics, and logic tests. I finally got my place in the class. And every day during the 2 years that I was there, I felt like a fraud. I thought that at any moment, someone would find out that in fact, I didn't know anything, or even worse, I always imagined someone going at the class, knocking the door, and tell me they did something wrong, and in fact, I should be there. And these feelings always follow me. Can you imagine how difficult it is for someone who loves to speak, not being able to communicate? So 2 years ago, I moved to Sweden without speaking English or Swedish. and with a design course interrupted in Brazil. So the imposter syndrome became my friend, and we have long conversations during the whole day, and we have been having a strong relationship for 2 years. But finally, I realized that it no longer makes sense to have a friend who just put me down. And now I still, now I will share how I deal with these feelings. And before to start share, I would like to say that I still dealing with these feelings every day, and it's not easy, but you need to try out and go out your comfort zone. So if you keep paying attention to what we don't have, we will never feel we are good enough. We are constantly aware about our fears, doubts, but all we know about others is what they tell us. So don't compare yourself and pay attention to what you have done and celebrate even the smallest achievements in your day. And it can be anything. Learn something new, can be a single word for a day. Is a reason to celebrate. Having been able to focus on something, especially in these times, is a reason to celebrate. Have courage to do something new is a reason to celebrate. So celebrate these small things doing what you like. And this can be listening your favorite song, having a cup of tea, have a call with a friend, and or just dancing in the mirror. The important thing is remember to celebrate yourself and celebrate your achievements. And avoid overthinking past situations. They are full of judgment. You can spend hours, days thinking about the past, but the truth is the past is already gone. So focus your energy in living the present. Don't judge yourself so much, and don't get me wrong here. Self-reflection is super important, but spend days in your life just overthinking past situations is not healthy at all. Remember to live in day after day, and this can be a difficult task for someone anxious like me, but the truth is the future will happen. So don't let the fear of the future paralyze you. Don't freak out. Keep your mind in the present, and everything will be fine. I swear. The answer to overcome imposter syndrome is not just to fix individual behaviors, but to create an environment that fosters racial and gender diversity, especially in leadership positions. We can't be fine with this, especially in tech, where the majority of teams are composed of men. We must reinforce and embrace diversity in all teams and in all positions. So I remember the first time someone told me I had imposter syndrome, and I really do, but avoid misdiagnosing people with imposter syndrome. Sharing my fears and my doubts doesn't make me a less capable person. On the contrary, it makes me a person with the courage to show my vulnerabilities, and stop telling women that they have imposter syndrome simply because they share doubts and fear. These feelings are normal, and they don't define who I am, and they don't define who you are. I start this presentation saying imposter syndrome is a behavior, and like all behaviors, it can be changed. So I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia.
Thank you.
Such an inspirational story. And I definitely agree that we should celebrate our achievements more and stop questioning everything we do. So yeah, I feel we can learn from your story a lot, and you had some really good tips as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, and we'll have a panel discussion afterwards.